when Sarah checked into the old Halcyon Hotel for a business trip. She was running on 2 hours of sleep and pure caffeine. She barely registered the clerk's awkward pause when he handed her the key to room 36. "No," Dwight glanced at his co-worker before muttering, "If you need anything, just call." The Halcyon was one of those historic city hotels, creaky, full of charm and, as Sarah would soon learn, secrets. She barely noticed the faded wallpaper or the way the hall lights flickered as she dragged her suitcase down the third-floor corridor. Room 36 was at the far end, next to a fire exit propped open with a battered chair. She tossed her bag on the bed, ignored the musty smell, and collapsed, barely bothering to kick off her shoes. It was past midnight when she woke, her phone screen lighting up with a new message. "Are you okay?" The number was unknown. She ignored it and rolled over. A sharp knock at the door jolted her, fully awake. "Housekeeping," a woman's voice called, but the clock on her phone read 1:47 a.m. Sarah cracked the door. The hallway was completely empty. Trying unfailing to get back to sleep, she scrolled through her phone and idly searched for reviews of the Halcyon. Most were standard, but then she found several that mentioned room 306. "Did anyone else hear the knocking?" one user asked. Another wrote, "Why do people keep calling my phone after midnight?" One post, however, chilled her to the bone. "Stayed in 306 last week. Woke up to a woman crying in the hallway. My door was locked, but when I checked the peephole, no one was there." Sarah's breath quickened. She reminded herself that every old hotel has its stories, right? Just local folklore. But as she closed her eyes, she heard it. A faint, heartbreaking sobbing from the other side of the thin door. She shot up, her heart pounding, and crept to the peephole, nothing. She opened the door a crack. The hallway was still and silent. Sleep finally took her, but her dreams were restless and broken. She woke again, not to a sound, but to a feeling, a terrifying sensation of someone sitting at the foot of her bed. She couldn't move or speak, trapped in that terrifying space between waking and sleep. In the dim light, she saw the outline of a woman, her head in her hands, her shoulders shaken with silent sobs. The room was freezing cold. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the weight lifted. Sarah could move again. The room seemed perfectly normal. Convinced it was just a vivid nightmare, a bout of sleep paralysis from the exhaustion, she tried to shrug it off. But when she went to the bathroom, she noticed something strange. The mirror, fogged, despite the air conditioning, had a smudge near the bottom, a handprint, as if someone had pressed their palm against the glass from the inside. The next morning, Sarah went straight to the front desk. The clerk from the night before looked apologetic. "Did you sleep okay?" he asked, his voice hesitant. Sarah paused, then quietly asked, "Is there something wrong with room 36? The clerk's eyes darted away, avoiding her gaze. "There was an incident," he admitted, his voice dropping to a whisper. "A few years back, a woman traveling alone never checked out. Security found her. She'd been gone for days. Some guests say they still hear her crying, or feel her presence." He forced a weak smile. "But it's just stories, right?" Sarah checked out early, unable to shake the feeling that something in room 36 was still waiting for its last guest to finally leave. As she rolled her suitcase past the fire exit, she noticed the battered chair had been moved. The door was closed tight. That night, as she checked into a new, modern hotel, her phone buzzed with another message from that same unknown number. It read, "Are you okay? Room 36 is waiting." Sarah blocked the number, but the memory of that night and the cold, heavy presence in the dock followed her, a secret she could never quite escape. Sarah's story is fiction, but the number 36 echoes through the halls of some of America's most famous, and they are stages for history, tragedy, and legends that refuse to fade away. From historical landmarks to haunted hotspots, the story of room 36 is far more real and far more chilling than you might think. Let's travel to Memphis, Tennessee, to the Lorraine Motel. Here, room 36 is not a place of ghostly whispers, but of a deafening historical silence. On April 4th, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was standing on the balcony, just outside this very room, when he was fatally shot. This single moment changed the course of American history. The Lorraine Motel is no longer a functioning hotel. It has been preserved and transformed into the National Civil Rights Museum. Room 36 has been kept exactly as it was on that fateful day. A poignant and powerful tribute to Dr. King's life and legacy. It's a place of pilgrimage, where visitors from all over the world come to pay their respects and reflect on the fight for justice. Here in Room 36 isn't cold with a ghostly presence, but heavy with the weight of history, a solemn reminder of both a great loss and an enduring dream. The room represents a pivotal point in the civil rights movement, a story captured in books and documentaries that try to convey the profound emotional and social impact of that day. It stands as a testament to a real-life tragedy, far more impactful than any ghost story. But then, we traveled to Flagstaff, Arizona, where the narrative of Room 36 takes a much darker, more spectral turn. At the historic hotel, Monte Vista, Room 306 is infamous not for history, but for horror. According to local legend, this room was the site of a brutal crime in the 19th. The story goes that 2 prostitutes were killed and their bodies thrown from the 3rd-story window. Ever since, guests, especially men, have reported a string of deeply unsettling experiences. Imagine trying to sleep, only to feel an invisible weight pressing down on your chest, making it impossible to breathe. Or waking up to find unexplained scratch marks on your skin. People have reported feeling constantly watched by an unseen presence, the kind of feeling that makes the hair on your arms stand up. But it doesn't stop there. The paranormal activity associated with Room 36 at the Monte Vista is relentless. Guests hear sharp knocks on their door late at night, sometimes followed by a muffled voice announcing room service, only to find the hallway completely empty. It's a classic haunting trope, but for those who experience it, the fear is very real, and the hotel seems to have more than one spectral resident. Staff and guests have also reported seeing the phantom of a bellboy, dressed in a vintage uniform, wandering the halls. He's often seen near the entrances to rooms, sometimes knocking before vanishing into thin air. Is he a long-gone employee, forever trapped in his duties, or something else entirely? This room has become a bucket list destination for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts. It embodies the classic hotel horror story, a dark past, unexplained phenomena, and a lingering sense that you are never, ever truly alone. So, we have 3 rooms, all numbered 306. One is a fictional place of quiet, sorrowful haunting. Another is a sacred ground of historical memory and profound loss. And the 3rd is a legendary hotspot of paranormal activity and fear. What is it about the number 3? Is it a mere coincidence? Or is there something about these enclosed spaces, these temporary homes, that makes them magnets for stories, both real and imagined? A hotel room is a transient place, a crossroads of countless lives. People bring their hopes, their secrets, and their sorrows through those doors. Most of them check out and move on, but sometimes, it seems, a story, a memory, or ebony soul decides to stay behind. Whether it's the chilling whisper of a ghost, the heavy silence of history, or a frightening tale spun from our own imaginations, the legend of Room 36 reminds us that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed. The stories linger, waiting for the next guests to check in. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mysteries of Room 36. If you have your own spooky hotel story, I'd love to hear it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the unknown. Stay curious and sleep well, if you can.